Okay, so today we're going to talk about the dark reasons why not to move to Gilbert. We're going to give you the Reddit version, okay? We're going to get rid of all the fluff because we already all know that Gilbert is hot, Arizona is hot. We don't need to talk about that. But what are the things that you wouldn't know until you've actually lived here for a little bit? I live here in Gilbert and there's a lot of parts that I love, but there's definitely several things I didn't know about until I lived here for a little bit that were slightly off-putting. And for anyone who lives here or has previously lived in Gilbert, I want to hear your thoughts too. What were some things that you didn't really like? Please put it in the comments below. Okay, the first thing, number one, is chains. There's a lot of chains in Gilbert, both shopping and dining, and it definitely gives it a very cliche suburbia feel. I mean, honestly, if you blindfolded me and dropped me into a random shopping center, I wouldn't know if I'm in a suburb of Los Angeles or Vegas or Arizona. Now, I would say Gilbert is a land of conveniences. I mean, every corner you have a Costco, Trader Joe's. I mean, things like Nordstrom's Rack or Dick's. I mean, we have every store, every chain store you can think of. So it's very convenient in that regard, but there's not a lot of unique shopping and dining experiences. In the past 10 years, Gilbert has done a lot better in trying to build character, if you will. I mean, they've definitely improved the downtown Gilbert area. There's also Agritopia, which I would say is one of the most unique areas in Gilbert. And then most recently, Verde at Cooley Station, which is an area with restaurants, dining, and then there's a park in the center of it. So yes, it's getting better, but if you're expecting New York City or a Santa Barbara, it's not that. So for the second reason not to move here is walkability. Now I do realize when I have clients move down here and they say they want a walkable area, sometimes it means two things. One, it could mean that they just want to go out, they want to be able to go on a jog or walk their dog. Where the other party is like, hey, I want to be able to walk to the grocery store and basically get away without having a vehicle. Now, for that second person that's looking for a truly walkable area where they don't have to have a car, Gilbert's just not going to be the place. You really do need a vehicle to get around here. And that really does apply for actually most of the Phoenix metro area. There's a couple pockets that you could get away without having a vehicle, but for the most part, you really need to get a car. But if you're the first person, the person that's looking more for just walking paths or ability to go on a bike ride or a run, Gilbert actually is pretty good in that regard. There's crosswalks everywhere, there's sidewalks, there's a lot of beautiful neighborhoods. We even along the canal have a long path that cuts all the way through Gilbert. So if you want to go on a long run or bike ride, have at it. That's a great place to go. But I will say one thing, cars aren't always very observant about pedestrians, so definitely be careful. But the trail along the canals, and then there's the power line trail as well. Those are great places to go walking or running or biking if you want to avoid cars. Now, the third reason not to move here is Gilbert feels a little monotonous. And when I say that, I'm talking about more of the architectural design. And if you visit Gilbert, this is probably something you're going to notice right off the bat. And honestly, this was something that really bugged me when I first moved here. A lot of the homes look very similar to one another. It's almost like copy paste. You see a lot of neighborhoods where there's 5 different houses and they were just repeated throughout the neighborhood. And something to think about too is Gilbert is a pretty relatively new city, or it's technically a town. We had a couple big housing booms. There was one big housing boom in the more northern part of Gilbert, in the late 80s, early 90s. And then more of that central part of Gilbert, there was a big housing boom in the early 2000s. So you can see a lot of houses built in those time periods look very similar to one another, which gives it that kind of monotonous look. Now, one thing I will say about Gilbert is the town has done a really, really good job of keeping it clean, and a lot of public areas do have pretty beautiful landscaping. I would say it's definitely one of the prettiest cities in the entire Phoenix metro area. But if you're looking for a home that has a lot of character or maybe more of an historic home, Gilbert, you're not going to have many options. You're going to have many more options, even going to some parts of Mesa or some parts of Tempe. Definitely Phoenix is going to have the most options for more of those historic, unique character homes. Now, the fourth reason why I would not move to Gilbert is the pricing of homes. Now, I will say I've heard a lot of people on social media talk about how the cost of living in Gilbert is astronomical. That's not necessarily the case when we actually look at things like groceries, gas, taxes. We're actually doing pretty well and slightly below the national average. What most people are referring to are home prices. Now, of course, for many people, your mortgage is going to be one of the biggest expenses, so it is going to impact your cost of living greatly. Now, right now, the median sales price, it's a little under $600,000. And something to think about in Gilbert is it's predominantly single family homes. And the challenge I'm often finding for people, particularly that are looking for homes under like 450,000 or 400,000, is they kind of have to resort to the townhomes. And the catch is the townhomes here have really high HOAs. A lot of them are $200, some of them are over $300 a month. If you're someone who has a pretty strict budget and is trying to stay under $400,000 or $450,000, you probably don't want to be spending that amount of money on an HOA fee. Now, I would say some of the surrounding cities, particularly like certain parts of Mesa, even some parts of Apache Junction, the south side of Apache Junction below the 60, and of course, Santan Valley, you're going to find more options for single family homes and hopefully avoid that really high HOA fee. Now, the fifth reason why you should not move to Gilbert is, this pains me to say it, is the food. The food is very mediocre, and if you follow me at all, you know I'm a huge foodie. We have a lot of food options. There's tons of restaurants, but a lot of them are chains, and even areas like downtown Gilbert, a lot of those restaurants, although they're unique to Arizona, they're still the Arizona chain restaurants. If you're from maybe you're moving from a smaller town, a more remote town, it may feel like a lot of good options. But if you're from an area like, Seattle or LA, there's not a lot of variety or ethnic food that you'll find here. Keep in mind, Gilbert is a pretty big town. It's over 250,000 people. So there are a lot of hidden gems here, but you gotta look for them. And there's of course some OG staples like Joe's Farm Grill, Topo, and downtown Gilbert. But one thing we do very well with are coffee shops and then tap rooms. Some good coffee shops that you should check out. Grind Time is fantastic, family owned. Four Silos is another good one. And then the coffee shop in Agritopia is also a good spot. And if you appreciate a tap room or a brewery, some good spots include Tap Dragon, there's Wicked Rain, and then a great brewery is Desert Monks Brewing. But honestly, where some of my favorite restaurants are in the East Valley is our neighbor Mesa. Don't sleep on Mesa. A lot of people do, but there's so many great restaurants. I actually have this video right here that talks about some of my favorite spots in downtown, so please check it out. Thanks so much for watching and have a fantastic day.